But
I don't want to start the auto. Don't start the auto. Don't start the regret.
Let's get into it.
That was a lot for me initially. Okay, well, welcome to Friends Living Well. I'm Kelsey. I'm a BCBA.
And I'm Nikita Mahone, a licensed clinical therapist.
With us is our producer, Tom Alderson.
Couldn't do without you, Tom.
We love you, Tom. You make us look really good.
Hell yeah.
This podcast is a production of Full Living Wellness. That is Nikita's therapy practice. We offer a lot of things at our therapy practice. We offer couples therapy, grief counseling,
Supervision, groups
supervision, BCBA, parent coaching. We do a lot of things. We're licensed in PA, New Jersey, and Florida. So if you're interested, check us out. Just Google Full Living Wellness. And as a disclaimer, this is my favorite disclaimer. This is not therapy. This is a casual conversation between two best friends that happen to be therapists. We can't diagnose you, and via a podcast, you cannot be therapized. So
We're just a bunch of silly gooses here.
yeah, we're just two girls talking into microphones who are going to eat some strawberry sour belts from Trader's Joe.
Christina P, shout out there.
Yeah, shout out Christina P. So yeah, we're developing new segments on the show, one of which is we eat sour stuff together. I don't know why. Everybody's been talking about these, and I don't know. And
Those ones specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
And everybody. I've seen a couple people post about them, and one of my friends...
She's like, my mom posted about it, so...
Yeah, my mom, Susan Duzen,
Shout out,
posted
Susan.
about it. No, Shannon was like, you have to get these. And I saw Amanda Mazza also posted them on her story. And they were like, I was like, okay, so like multiple people are telling me
Heck yeah.
that I need to try them. They're good. They're not that sour.
Oh, okay.
They're not like gonna knock your socks off sour wise, but the taste is so good.
So these aren't going to be necessarily from we're having an anxiety attack?
No.
Okay.
These are not anxiety. I don't know, but I guess everybody's like sour palate is really different.
True, yeah, because Tom and I were not...
Tom and you, yeah, you guys were like, I could just go all day. And I was like,
Yeah, your cute little sour face.
yeah. My cute little
There she is.
sour face.
Make sure you close up in there.
Nikita and her mom got me this, and this is me. And,
Well, we saw it and we were like, oh, there she is.
oh, it's Kelsey.
How did she get here? Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to try the sour belt?
I do, yeah.
They're really good.
I mean, it came out of because we've been talking about how that's one of our favorite things for helping an anxiety attack.
100%. And I just bought myself warheads.
Yeah, I need to
because
do that.
them. I should just have them.
I've been having a like a response. I think it's from all my medical trauma in this past couple of months when I'm rolling in jujitsu or in the sauna. I can like feel a panic attack start to build up a little bit
Post rolls.
while I'm in rolls, and it's so funny. It's only with people that I'm particularly safe with.
Oh, interesting.
It's like my body is having this response, and I can tell it's all like the history of it all trying to come up. Should I just down one whole fucking...
Oh, yeah.
Are we doing it together?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, Tom, do you want to get in
Timothy?
on this, honey?
yeah, I'll take one.
Help yourself.
Flavored with natural flavors.
Red Dye 40.
It's all natural, baby.
America.
They're so good.
Not sour at all, but really good.
There's a touch of sour, but it's not very. Reminds me of something. It's very tasty.
It really tastes like strawberry.
Oh yeah, that's good. A little ASMR.
I actually heard it. Ew.
Let them know where it's at.
It was worse when Tom did it. For some reason.
Damn, that was good.
Aren't those really tasty?
Those are good. I'm gonna get a sugar high from that.
I was thinking about getting some for LBI. Everything I can think about is LBI.
I was just gonna say that.
I can't stop referencing it.
That's all we're thinking about.
It's like I'm not even here. I'm not even in time and space right now.
We wait until the viewers see what we're gonna shoot at LBI.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait to show them that because not a lot of people know about it. I keep every time it gets
crazy.
closer to
Maybe we should gatekeep it though.
what? What were we talking about?
Can you bleep out every time we say LBI?
We're gonna say we're in Maine.
Yeah.
We're in Maine someplace.
No, we're gonna go down to the beach, you guys, and it's pretty much all we can think about and talk about.
It's just our special place. It's where we all go. It's like our chosen family spot, and it's a whole week
Yeah.
of not having to do anything but all the things that we love to do and
Yeah.
all of it together.
It's pretty hard to gatekeep a place that 250,000 people visit every summer.
It is
Yeah.
the Jersey Shore.
There's also multiple LBIs.
Snooki
great.
has been there before, so.
Have I ever told you how my dad refers to her as Snoogie? I just remembered,
How's that Snooki doing?
I just remembered
Your pops with the
he
dad
says
jokes.
so many things the wrong way. Like he called Chick-fil-A Chick-fil-A.
That's my favorite form of an inside joke, though, is when you and your people start to just come up with your own language. I love
Tom
that
and
shit.
I speak in another language all the time. We
Yes.
just vocally stem back and forth. What else is? Oh, he calls burritos burritos. There's just little stuff that he
just
does.
little twinges of things.
Oh man, that guy's freaking funny. Man, I forgot about Snoogie. That's so funny. Yeah, we're super stoked for LBI. We're gonna shoot down at LBI.
Yes. Speaking of healing, that'll be a
And that was like, if I'm not mistaken, that really technically was our first vacation together, right?
I guess it was
Because
it was
I know we talked about Austin was like the first time we like traveled together.
Yes. First time we got on an airplane and all that together.
Yeah, and it was just us. So there was something really nice about that, but I think LBI was like,
I think so.
right? It
Yeah.
was like all of us coexisting, and it was so nice. There's something very like, I don't know the right word for it. I don't know if like symbiotic is like the right word for it, about meeting somebody and then we go do this thing and it all like falls into place.
It flows.
We didn't
It's
have to,
kismet.
yeah,
There
we
you
didn't
go.
have to try. It was really easy, and then we kind of got into like this flow of like, oh no, this is what we're going to do every day.
That's been like our whole friendship, though.
Oh, that's so true.
We met. How long you been doing this? Like 2 weeks.
It's so crazy because I literally can't think. Bless. I can't think of a life without you now.
Right? What did it even?
It's like
What did it even?
it's like Jesus. My life's it's before Nikita and after Nikita.
BN. AN. BN.
BNE before Nikita era and ANE.
And that sounds
after
so
Nikita.
insane to say, but I don't know. I was just thinking about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about how us all meeting, even Lauren too, it was the culmination of all of us looking for that in a friendship and a relationship,
Yeah.
and looking for the kind of authenticity and way of talking to one another. Where we're like, I keep trying to have these conversations with other people, and it just doesn't seem like it's connecting or it's hitting the way I want it to. And then we
Yeah.
all met one another, and we were like, wow, that is so easy to talk to one another.
Literally. But I think that that's something that comes from friendships in your 30s.
Yeah.
That's where it's like you hit 30 and you're like, I don't want to do this fake stuff. I don't want to do this like shallow stuff. Like I'm looking for that deeper connection. I'm looking for that, the people that can really like round me out.
Yeah, because we've done it for so freaking long before that.
Yeah.
Your entire 20s, a lot of your teens,
Yeah.
Especially if your friendships come from those times. I find myself talking a lot about that with clients that are going from friendships that started in their 20s or even college friendships, and then now they're in their late 30s, early 40s, or they're starting families.
So different.
And people change so much. And
So
then
much.
I'm always having conversations then about what does it mean to maintain specifically long-term relationships, and not just romantic relationships, but friendships. And how do you, I always phrase it as, how do you keep coming to the table to do exactly as you're like, how do we talk to one another? How do we talk about our relationship?
I have a hard time with that. I have a really hard time with that. I don't like change. And so then when like things
Yeah.
change within a friendship,
Oh, especially your people, you don't
oh,
like
I
that.
don't like that. Yeah, I have a really hard time coping with that.
Even as you said, your fists got
Did I clench
tinier
my
and
little
angrier.
fist?
You were like, "Oh, don't you change?"
Yeah, I don't like change. I really don't. I really don't.
Well, it makes you nervous about loss.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I keep a small circle. It's not like I have endless friends, you know? And I feel like it's this thing of like, if I'm giving you a piece of me, then like you're in a special place. So like don't take that piece of me. Don't.
And then go someplace with
It's a
it.
tiny fizz. Yeah, I don't like it. But that's what's hard about maintaining friendships over a really long period of time. You know, because it's like you and I met each other. You like me?
Just the butter.
The other segment we're gonna do is we're gonna review fidgets.
Oh, the best fidget toys that there are.
Yeah. No, the thing that's different about
It makes me uncomfortable. It's so inappropriate.
I know it does feel a little phallic, so I am gonna put that down. But like we met each other at a place where we're both like very healed, you know, in the process of healing, and like we're really communicative. So it's
Yes.
like different, right? Because you and I came to the table, like you, me, and Lauren, same thing. We're coming to the table with like
So much
with a
work.
different deck of cards.
Yep.
And then it's like you bring that, you look back at your other friendships and your friendships you've had for a longer period of time, and it's not the same level of like communication or intention, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not spoken about, the intention, and it's just different. It's harder to navigate those changes.
It is. And we
Yeah.
needed those conversations. So I think that's why when we found one another, we just really sank into it.
Yeah.
I think you could create those if you have existing relationships. You can go back and really communicate on it and get to that depth with people. But I think the three of us, it's exactly like you're saying. We were so healed and then coming to a lot of realizations and questions about things
Yeah.
that we were asking the same things at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it
yeah.
felt so kismet that there we go again.
Yeah, there it is. That's that word again. Yeah, it's almost like we were yelling into the void, and then we all showed up to the same place in the void, and we were like,
Wait.
"What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Are we all yelling?
Yeah.
Are we all gonna yell into the void now?"
Yeah, we literally had moments where we just looked at one another and we were like, so we're definitely best friends for life. That's crazy. Known you for like a month. Weird.
Weird how my life just started again.
It just began. Cool.
What was that rule that you guys always talk about implementing?
The 3-month rule.
3 month that you totally broke.
With each other, yes.
Well,
Yeah, it's true.
But we also formulated it from
As-
being
Oh,
hurt
well.
by people.
Yeah. And I didn't know that Nikita broke her 3-month rule with me until like we were a year into our friendship.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
And she was like, "Yeah, I broke my 3-month rule with you." And I was
sometimes
like,
rules are dumb.
They are dumb. Yeah, that's what I told myself too, Tom. I was like, well, just keep it in your pocket. You know, if she ends up being a little sociopath, you can handle it when you find out. Little did I know. 3 years later, it comes out. Insert little horns.
yeah. Anyway,
On that note.
on that note, I don't know how to segue into any of the things we planned to
Oh my
talk
gosh. We do have some pretty cool things to talk about today, though.
Yeah.
I've been excited about it.
Where do we want to start? Do we want to talk about the TV show? Do we want to talk about like sexuality and like relationships? I was hoping that if we talked about the recent J-Rod controversy, that it would segue into like
I was just thinking as you were saying that about how there's actually some really big overlapping messages about what isolation does and what especially males are going through within
Yeah.
isolation right now.
it could actually relate to both of the topics that we planned on talking about because the TV show we were going to talk about actually
Yeah.
has a lot of themes about like views of like women. From
Exactly.
men. Yeah. So. Yeah, well, I think we should talk about in the jiu-jitsu community. There's been a big.
Can you talk to me like I'm stupid and tell me what happened? Because I'm
Yeah.
sure that there's some people that are going to instantly know what
Yeah.
we're talking about, and then unless you're
yeah.
in the very small community of jiu-jitsu, you would have no idea.
It can always be someone's first episode. You never know.
Very true.
Okay, well, welcome. Go buckle up.
Oh my gosh, if it is your first episode, welcome.
Oh
that
my
would be so
God,
amazing.
That would be really nice. Buy yourself some sour belts. Eat them with us. And
Comment on something and let us know so we
yeah,
know you're here.
Yeah, if you, we have not said this. If you subscribe if you follow us, if you left us a review on Spotify or Apple Music, or if you comment on YouTube, it really helps our engagement.
Seriously, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. That is so...
Yeah, we would really love that. And we would really appreciate it. And we do have plans for people that are avid listeners. We have plans on finding ways to kind of celebrate you.
Speaking of phallic objects, we have like a little bit of a... We don't have all the details about it yet, so I'll keep it vague, but we have like a little bit of a raffle thing going on.
Yeah,
where
we're
we
throwing
want to...
around some ideas.
Yeah, we want to put some things in there that we love, like butter
fidgets?
fidget toys and just maybe some jujitsu gear. And we're thinking of it,
Yeah.
but...
So keep liking, keep commenting, keep sharing. Really helps us, and it helps drive our business. You know, we're doing this obviously because we love each other and we love to talk about things, but we're also doing it, you know, to help our business.
Absolutely.
It's something we're really passionate about. So
Word of mouth is how we let people get to know us.
100%. So yeah, so I'm gonna outline this controversy. I'm by no means an expert in any of this. It's not like I sat and like did a lot of research on like what's going on, but
And it's developing right now. It's not like all of this is
Yeah.
well documented and has been out. It's happened this past week.
it's happened in the past week. There's been a lot of like back channel conversations happening on Reddit and like burner accounts and like things where we're kind of learning a little bit more about what's going on. But essentially, there's like a prominent jiu-jitsu grappler. Is it Jacob Rodriguez?
Yes.
Yeah. They call him J-Rod. He's on Craig Jones' team, which is the B team. His brother is Nicky Rod.
Yeah.
Nick Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Um,
Millionaire daddy now.
Yeah, he won. He's referred to now as the millionaire grappler. So his brother J-Rod recently got banned from the B team. Craig Jones put out a statement about it and basically said, you know, based on his actions towards women at the gym, that he was no longer welcome at the gym, that they prioritize, you know, the safety in their community and the safety of the women in the gym.
Good job, Craig.
Which is really, I think it's refreshing to see, because Craig does some like super questionable stuff. He does some real crazy stuff.
He's a real silly guy.
He's a silly guy. He's constantly talking about doing cocaine. He kissed Gabby Garcia forcefully on the mouth.
He's basically living all of our dreams. That's what's happening.
He does a lot of questionable stuff. But, you know, he's also like the number one troll on the, you know, like he lives to troll people. So you
Yes.
never know what's real with him. But the fact that he actually like, you know, took a stand to keep the women in his gym feeling safe is really important. The reason why he got banned is not clear because J-Rod has not explicitly said what he did.
Okay.
And Craig Jones is not saying what he did. But J-Rod, and if you go on his Instagram, he did post an apology video.
I did see that, yes.
Where he talks about having lustful ways and he agrees with the B team's decision.
Weird affect throughout that, by the way. That's my first observation. It was a weird tone,
Yeah.
weird facial expression throughout it. Very.
It was weird.
I'm reviewing the burrito that I
Yes!
ate earlier
Wait,
today.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna pull up. So there's this account that I follow. It's called the Neurodivergent Grappler, and they had like a good take on it. So I'm gonna read you some of it. It says, "Sorry you got caught. Why J-Rod's apology fails the accountability test." So basically, you know, he said like he also said like I'm working with a therapist to like understand my lustful ways, and like he said something about like I don't know, like faith and beliefs. Like it was weird. I would agree the tone of it was weird. Their criticism, which I think is very valid, he said in an initial statement, I don't know if he's made a statement since this, that he had unhealthy interactions with women in the gym, which is super vague.
So vague.
So it's not really saying I did this. In order to take accountability, you have to say what happened. their criticism was that he deflected responsibility. So he's saying like apparently he's attributing his behavior to a porn addiction. I don't know about that.
I guess it's just hard because it feels like, I mean, let's put it out there of the story that is out. So we have no idea how much of this is actually true, but at least to this point, the story that is out, correct me, Kels, if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
is that what was found was that on his phone he had a library and a collection where within that library were organized folders for each of the females that were in his gym, where there were images and videos of them training and rolling, so of their bodies, and then also correlating pornography videos that
okay.
matched their physical features in some kind of a way. So trying to
My understanding is that he made deepfake, like he used AI to create porn images of the women in his gym.
Were yeah. I mean, that's how you would upload it, is you would take that data and just plug it in. And
yeah, which apparently, again, like this is not something that I've really like done a lot of research on. I'm not an expert. We're part of the jiu-jitsu community, right? We're consumers of the same information you guys are.
And we have a personal experience too of hearing and knowing that messages, we haven't had anything to this level occur, but we know for a fact and have had our own experiences of knowing that there are conversations with males that we have trained with that are specifically talking about women's bodies of the members that they train with, which is supposed to be a safe settings where we don't think that stuff is happening. Which feels like, I know when you and I found it, we had long conversations about what a violation, because we were like, oh, these are guys that we thought would be our protectors in the room.
I know.
And then come to find out that they're actually the ones that are preying on us in the room.
Yes. I've personally, in my experience, have been on the receiving end of inappropriate conversations, information being said about me, or conversations about me as the sexual object that I know were happening amongst, men that I've rolled with. So I think that it's something that most women in jiu-jitsu Did you see that? It's something that most women in jiu-jitsu experience, unfortunately. And I think that, like, as a woman consuming this information, seeing what, and that information about what happened is coming from like a burner account. Like it's somebody saying this is what happened.
Right.
I follow one of the teammates, one of the B team girls. Her name is Allie Wolski.
Amazing.
She's really great. She's great. And she had a great. I really appreciated that she said this, but I felt bad that she had to say it. But basically said, like, I will make my own statement on this when the time is right. Please, stop dragging me into it.
Yeah.
Please stop trying to identify the victims in this. Because it's really like we should be protecting their privacy. Yeah. The fact that the violation happened is so egregious, just period. But then, to kind of be in the public eye the way that the B team people are in the public eye.
Right.
I can't imagine what it feels like to and apparently, again, I don't know if this is true. Apparently what's being said is how this all got found out was because J-Rod's girlfriend, who I believe trained at B Team or is training at B Team, found a folder in his phone of this shit. So
wow, that's a complex situation right there.
Yeah, again, some of this is speculation. I mean, I think when people come out online and they make statements like this, we owe them the due diligence of believing what they're saying and hearing it, and taking that and trying to be respectful of their privacy and be supportive in the best way that you can as a stranger on the internet, right?
Have enough respect to at least just receive the message. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it or that's where it's going to stop at, but just take it in.
Yeah, and I think that I think that the criticisms about his apology, I don't think an apology is ever going to be perfect to anybody. I think especially when you're on the internet. It's something to have such a nuanced conversation about.
And that's not an apology. That's like this status quo social media bullshit of I'm now expected to go online and make an apology basically to the audience of his Instagram. But an apology would be to that person, like, and have nothing to do with a camera in front of them. So
It's like the James Charles, I'm gonna go be a predator, but I'm gonna make like a confession apology video every 6 months, and I'm still gonna be an influencer, and I'm still gonna, so you could go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's obviously it's really disappointing to hear that women are being treated that way. They're being objectified in that way. But I did see on the Jits and Gigs podcast, they had a guest on there. Was it the guy that like runs like ADCC or something? Some big guy on it. They were talking about relationships between like men and women in gyms.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he was like, I have a hot take, and she was like, that's not a hot take, that's just how it should be. But he
That's
basically yeah, she had who did we have on here? We had Seth Daniels on here. And he was basically saying like, you should treat treat the gym like your family, your brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Brothers and sisters don't look at each other in that way. It's creepy. It's weird. Like, and that's what was so shocking for us to hear about what people were saying about us and conversations that were being had about women at our gym, because we never thought that way.
Never.
It never crossed our mind once.
And what really shocked me about it was like, I'm a very like, I think we all are in our own way, very sexual person, it is one thing to look at one another and go, wow, so attractive, or what a build, or like, so like that.
Yeah.
These are observations that we all make. Nobody is saying that that's not reasonable to do. We're all going to do that. What shocked us about it was that it went from an observation and a thought that is natural to ruminating, harping on it, writing out a message, repeated messages, messaging back and forth. There's so many actions and choices about how to treat somebody, and that was the shocking part, that it was so fully engaged in, and that there were multiple men too. So I was like, so then
this is okay.
Yes,
right?
like how aren't you guys calling each other out on this? How are you saying that this is okay?
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because I also like, there was somebody that I'm friends with that was involved in some of those interactions, and instead of like calling out the bad behavior, they just simply removed themselves from the interaction. And I'm like, that's not helping us. That's not protecting us. That's not like being an advocate or an ally. Like, you're removing yourself because you feel uncomfortable. You know it's wrong, but you also are like, I would feel more uncomfortable if I called them out on it.
Because of the fear of confrontation.
Yeah, so it's...
Which I partly get and empathize with, but the other part of me just wants men to stand up in that way so bad. With that specific thing, and just be like, that's not okay. Like, what you're doing, there's so many better ways of handling yourself and your emotions than this.
I just think it's so normalized. I think it's so normalized for men to be able to, like, have those types of conversations that, like... I think there are men out there that do it. Like, I know that if somebody like was treating, made a comment about me, I know that Tom would like literally try and do crimes. I know that about him.
Crimes be done.
But he also doesn't care about what people think. And that sets him apart in a way that, like, I know this person would never...
would struggle with. Maybe that's why we wish for the best, because in those moments we can understand struggling with...
Yeah.
But wanting men to feel like, no, I can do that. I can say that thing. We would hope that we all would in that situation.
I also think, too, like, it does involve, I think, a lot of, like, emotional intelligence and skill and, like, being able to articulate why it's wrong.
Yes.
Because I think that if I'm thinking of this person, I think that they know it felt icky, didn't know why. Like, couldn't label it. Right? Yeah. And I think that in order to really advocate or be an ally, you have to be able to like label it and say like, this is why this is a problem, right? Like what J-Rod did or is accused of doing is wrong because he's sexualizing women. He's violating like basically their privacy.
Yeah, especially with the videos and the images of their actual bodies while training. Yeah.
Right. And then But I don't think it's illegal. I don't think that this stuff is illegal because it's an AI image.
Well, kind of depends. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that stuff from situations like this formulates. I mean, I know not too long ago it became illegal and a form of a sexual harassment for you to share nude images of somebody.
Right. I think laws are probably
Catching up.
having to catch up as this stuff happens.
Exactly.
There needs to be a precedent, correct?
Exactly.
In
So
order for it to be legislated or whatever?
Yeah.
As a real law?
And I saw a statistic because like there's been a lot of conversation about like deep fakes. That's what all this is called. About how like 98% of like AI generated like deep fakes are pornographic in nature. So
there's just so many questions I have about it, like on a psychological level of just like if you're imagining having sex with somebody and they're a teammate of yours or a friend of yours,
Yeah.
it's like in your mind you're having an intimate relationship, like there's something that's happening for you internally, and then you're going and interacting with that person as you train with them and are friends with them. It's like a dual secretive relationship, and I can't help but
yes.
wonder.
And I have a lot of thoughts on this because this is something, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that I've noticed about men specifically who don't have. There are a lot of men out there that struggle with having platonic relationships with women, friendships. A lot of men have never had positive friendship like interactions and relationships that are not sexual in nature. And so I think that there's a lot of people, you know, and I keep saying men, like, you know, this is a majority here, so I'll just put that out there. But like I think a lot of men struggle with understanding relationships with women that are non-sexual. And I think that it's likely that J-Rod was looking and interacting with these women, probably saw a lot of things that he liked or maybe even liked about their
Right.
personality.
Yeah.
Right? I like this person. She's funny. She's smart. She's blah, 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 you know, and it didn't stop there. It why can't you just appreciate the person for who they are and like just enjoy being in their orbit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so you're right. Like, where's that line?
That's what I find fascinating
Where
about
do we
it.
stop? Like, how do we start with the sexualization, but then how do we stop?
Well, I think you maybe are, and obviously we don't know his story or his internal experiences, but what you just said pointed out something that I find a lot in working with sexuality with people is that whatever way that they were acting out was to fulfill something that was missing.
Yeah.
And so as you just said it, like if that is the reason or a lot of the root is, oh, I really admired or liked and felt an attachment to these women because maybe they were kind or nurturing or really funny and intelligent or they treated me in a way that nobody else has. It's like, well, then you're becoming sexually aroused or you're getting confused with that and colliding these two worlds because you're missing those kinds of loving relationships in your life, period. And I guess that's where that would be the poignant thing to then come back on is like, how do you get those actual relationships in your life so that way you're not needing them in this way?
Would it be okay if I interrupt with 2 questions about that?
Anytime.
First one,
Can you hit me with another sour belt while you ask the question?
do you think, or do you agree with maybe, I think part of the thing that's the most messed up to me is the fact that these things that he's doing are clandestine too. There's no way to get the other person's consent because it's secretive. So therefore, in my mind, it's fucked up. So I think that is like the biggest ick factor.
I
Just
can see that the dishonesty level of things.
dishonesty, secretive, and just, you know.
Well, he knows it's wrong.
Yeah.
That's why it's hidden.
It's like a version of me. Like if you fantasize about me, it's almost like I'm trying to put myself in that situation and kind of imagine like
Yeah.
what about it would be.
That's how I arrived at that point of like, there must have been something about these women that he really enjoyed about them, like
Yeah.
genuine enjoyment. Because how many times have like you met somebody at the gym and you're like, wow, they are so attractive and there's so many
Yes.
lovely there are so many people that we have the pleasure of knowing and rolling with at our gym that are attractive, intelligent, accomplished, like
Right.
but we appreciate them for who they are, and
Yes.
then we say it to their face.
Yes.
We're like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with you. You're amazing.
That kind of kind of pivots into the second question I had was there's this rule. I can't remember what it's called right now off the top of my head. It's something starting with a P, but it's similar to like an office relationship. It's not the proximity rule, but it's something like that. Do you think it's similar to that? Maybe like you spend so much time with these people. That's why
Yeah.
there's such things as office relationships. You spend 40 hours a week, 10 feet away from somebody. You're going to get to know them. You're going to look at them all the time. And you're going to, people develop thoughts about each other. It's just what happens. I forget what it's called. I meant to bring it up today.
But there's like a natural, I think that's part of human nature, is like what you're saying. Like it is natural to have thoughts about people.
Oh yeah, that's the observation, right? Like it's who is in your environment that you're gonna be impacted by, and then it feels like that leads me back to, and I see this with my couples that are dealing with infidelity all the time. When we boil down to how did we get to the infidelity, it always is all of a sudden in my environment. I saw something that made me feel a desire towards it.
Yes.
That could have been somebody that you'd been working with for 20 years. But now all of a sudden, maybe in your own marriage and relationship, you're not feeling wanted or needed by your partner anymore. And then all of a sudden,
Yes.
boom, you go to work one day and you notice the secretary that has been working there for 20 years, but you notice them for the first time.
It is the lack of something that drives the behavior. That's what, like, I'm going to get nerdy about this. That's what behaviorally we would call like a motivating operation. It's something that increases like the reinforcing or punishing effectiveness of the situation or the stimulus,
This
right?
is what draws me to engage in this.
So the lack of loving relationships that maybe are involve like sexual intimacy or gratification drive me towards accessing getting sexual gratification through inappropriate means, right? And if your job is grappling, you're there 2 times a day, every single day.
And if he's never had, I don't really know, like, does he
He
not
was in
know
a
how to have those in different ways? Like, the kind of relationships he's actually looking for.
Perhaps. I don't know. And I think that that's like a bigger question of like, what are you lacking that you're trying to seek in this manner?
This is the therapist in us. This is us, like, basically trying to have a session with him. We're like,
I know,
let's
I'm
figure out
like-
what led you here, buddy.
Yeah.
It is called the propinquity effect.
Propinquity.
I've never heard of that
literally
before.
never heard that once. Can you
I
tell us
learned
what
about it today.
Can you tell us what the definition is, if they could, or summarize it in some way?
Yeah, let me
I love having like live Google.
The propinquity effect is a social psychology phenomenon where people are more likely to form relationships with individuals they encounter frequently, whether physically close or functionally near. This means that simply being in the same space or having regular interactions with someone increases the likelihood of developing a friendship or romantic connection.
Why does that annoy me? Because that feels like duh.
Yeah, that's
As
not
opposed
a
to
thing.
somebody that I don't interact with.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not psychology. That's just like a true statement. Why is that an effect?
Well, again, layperson here. I saw this on TikTok today.
Oh.
And in the comments, I saw 2 or 3 people go, psychology student here. That's called the propinquity effect.
Yeah, we're both psychology students. Never heard of it. once.
Maybe it's just over our
Interesting.
heads. We're just real big dumb.
Because
No, I think we're too smart. I think we're too smart to know what it is.
the one that I scrolled past
Wait.
was somebody saying, he's not hot. He just works 10 feet away from you.
Ah, okay. Okay, I can see it in that way a little
hot.
bit more.
He's just 6'4". That's the one that I see on TikTok a lot. I want to know who the fuck propinquity is. Who the fuck is that white guy? If it's an
Yeah, it's
effect.
definitely a white dude that named that. As propinquity as his ass is.
It's in the APA Dictionary of Psychology. Not that that means anything, but updated 4/19/2018. Yeah, the tendency of individuals to form close relationships with people.
All right. Well, I don't want to go.
The propinquity effect is possibly related to the mere exposure effect.
Okay. It's fine. You don't have to go into it because
Anyway.
you're just the messenger in all of this anyway. It just sounded like fake psychology to me.
I liked the example you gave because I feel like that highlights it better than the definition that you gave, which is more so
100%.
that if you get too wrapped up in your community, you can forget that there are other communities that you can disattach from the one that you're connected to and go find what you're looking for in others. And it's like that example of you only like him because he's there.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, girl, there's literally millions of fish in the sea. If
Yes.
you're not liking the guys that are at work, just don't date one of the guys at work and go date a guy that's someplace else.
That brings me to another point about this whole J-Rod thing, which is that I also think that part of it that's arousing or could be like misconstrued or lead to arousal is that he has active involvement with the women. He
I was gonna say,
rolls
do you
with
mean
them.
physically? Yeah.
Like he interacts with them, maybe he directs them, maybe he teaches them.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a bit more of like, it's not like you're just viewing pornography and you're masturbating, right? Like you're there's a back and forth interaction happening here.
That's what makes me so amazed and also fascinated, because I think the internet is allowing this dichotomy to occur.
Yeah.
Where in the real world with you, I'm interacting with you and I've one relationship with you.
Yeah.
But online and inside of myself, my internal world and my relationship with you can be very different.
Yeah. And you would never know. And none of us would ever know if J-Rod's girlfriend didn't look through his phone and find his weird deepfakes folders.
Yeah.
Right? But that's also like, there's just such a violating feeling. Like, it does feel like violation. It feels like, I think that's the best word to use, because you don't get to be a participant. You don't get to say yes or no. You don't even know it exists. You are a woman going to your gym. You are a woman maybe trying to make a career out of being a grappler. You are a woman who has a hobby, is trying to stay active.
Oh, I would be so annoyed, especially like, I'm just trying to train.
And like, people at B Team don't just like, most of them are not just hobbyists. Like, these are people that are like
Serious athletes.
serious athletes that are like competing. Like, the Millionaire Grappler trains at B Team, and
Nobody's going there for
You're just
fuck
going-
around for the day.
yeah, we're going there to work.
Work.
We're going there to work. If somebody did this in a school, woo.
Yeah.
So why is it so normalized in sports? Like, why is it okay that, like, because you know what's going to happen? This is my hypothesis. He's going to do his fucking fake apology. Some other big team just going to pick him up. His grappling career isn't over.
Well, because it raises a really good question, which is, does he think it's wrong? I mean, I know he knows that other people think it's wrong and that there's going to be major consequences, but does he think it's wrong? I think that's why I keep going back to why that's so fascinating that there's this dichotomy, because I really wonder if I could ask him, what do you think of that?
Yeah.
Of the fact that you're doing that and you're kind of splitting your life and your relationships and how you feel and experience the world. You're splitting it. What do you think of that?
Yeah, because I think that was one of the criticisms also was, it seems like he apologized only because people were saying, where's your apology, blah, blah, blah. But I have to say, when I opened my phone and I saw, the first thing I saw was actually his apology. And I saw like Craig Jones posted a thing. It felt like it was similar in time. So it feels like it was a coordinated effect. It feels like it was like Craig was like, I'm going to post this. You're going to be a contributor and you're going to post yours and apologize and you're going to add me as a contributor.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what happened. I don't know. So
Back to two different worlds, right? Like, how do I appease and show up for I want to call that like the HR effect of social media. Like, I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's type of a thing, but it's not real.
And that's why I'm like, nobody, like, of course you don't like his apology. Like, because
it's not authentic.
Apologies can't exist without another party there. Like, you're not just talking to a brick wall, right? So when you post something on the internet apologizing, like, it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be criticisms. So it's one of those things, but then it's like, people wouldn't be happy if they didn't apologize too. So it's like, it's a shitty situation where who knows how many women were victimized. And God, I've said frickin' J-Rod's name about 20,000 times, and I haven't said the woman's name once. You know what I mean? Like, it's all this focus on him and him and him. And I think we should give the victims privacy, obviously. But it's just, like, angering. It makes me feel very angry because I feel like I've been in not the same situation, but we've been in a situation in which we felt violated because we were interacting and rolling with men that we thought were maybe people that cared about us or would protect us, and they weren't thinking of us in that capacity.
Yeah. It's also like, because, you know me, I always go to anger, and then I feel like my therapist brain clicks in, and I'm like, let's help them with this, because this can't be. And even the ones that I'm thinking of that did that to us, it was, even though on the outside they might look like some of the biggest and strongest men, we know, especially because we've had conversations with them, we know that they are some of the most insecure,
mentally
terrified
weak men.
Literally, and I'm not even saying that to like make fun of them. I mean, like, literally, they're
Scared.
grown men that feel like little boys still, and they're like, I know everybody looks at me and says I'm a man, but I don't feel like a man, and I feel terrified. And then they're so scared, and they don't say that to anybody because they have to act tough because that's what everybody thinks of them.
Yeah.
And so then I'm imagining
it does make me really sad for them, and I think that that's one of those things, like when we talk about like feminism and like toxic masculinity, like that's always one of the counterpoints to feminism is like, you know, men have higher suicidal rates of suicidality and like all these things, and I think that that's just really such a sad part of like living in like a culture that like really values patriarchy, which is like men suffer too.
Yeah, and in silence.
And that's why the suicidality rates are much higher with men.
And why this secreted stuff happens.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. And I love your instinct to want to understand and help. My instinct is not my job. I don't have to help you. It's not my job to help you.
I mean, it can be my job. Find me a Full Living Wellness.
Well, not if you're at our gym. Not if you're a teammate.
Not if you're a teammate.
That's my line is that's not my place.
Yeah.
I can't unpack that for you. I can't do that work for you.
Oh man, the conversations to have in that, because I would just, the disappointment that would be there, I would have to have a one-on-one and just be like, do you understand the place that I hold you to, and for you to take an action like that?
I just think it's also one of those things too where it's like with those the people that I'm thinking about specifically, I know because I felt genuine remorse and I felt genuine sadness. It exists only in that moment when they are face to face with me. Do they think about it later? Sure. Like, is that do they take that on? Yes. It doesn't stop them from doing it again.
Yeah.
It doesn't. That's not enough to get them to change their behavior. And that was the most disappointing thing, because even when I had the conversation, I said, this is why it was wrong, and this is how violated I feel. I felt the genuine remorse in the moment, but it didn't change anything.
I think that means that they're sorry that they hurt you, but I think it still means that they don't understand why something like that is so wrong for relationship dynamics.
Yeah, you're sorry because I'm sad in your face.
Yeah. I'm sorry I did something fucked up to you and it hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry that you're now in my face about it, and I can see it and I can feel it. In the moment I do feel. Yeah. But the actual structure of how I got here and the belief systems that allowed me to get here and make the choices I did.
But the next time I'm horny, I'm gonna
make the same exact ones.
I'm gonna make deep fakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it is a really interesting dichotomy. I think that that's a really good word to use, because it's like, it's like you're living two lives at once.
And it's exactly.
And there's probably so much self-shame in it as well, right? Like, there is this knowing that it's wrong. It's why they're hiding it. Yeah. They're not publicizing it. Yeah. But then it's like, I don't know.
That's what I got from my conversations, was like an acknowledgement of, yes, this is not how I would define a good man. This is not how I would define a strong man. and I feel shameful about this, and yet I keep doing it.
Yeah, I keep circling back. I keep
Yeah.
going back to it.
And the only thing I could do is thank them for at least acknowledging and being
Yeah.
honest about that, and then being like, so let's then just be curious about why is this the thing that you keep going to?
Yeah. Yeah. I would be interested if that, again, we can't be his therapist, so we're not going to know.
I wish.
And I'm sure we're going to get more, more information is going to come out about this, but, yeah, it's just like another disappointing, but yet not surprising
Definitely not surprising.
situation that's, happening, in grappling right now. And, gosh, I mean, I've never been an athlete. I never did sports or anything like that. And so now to kind of be in an athletic environment and start learning about like how much of this stuff just like happens,
Yeah.
like it's just part. It was kind of shocking.
Yeah,
I
the
was like,
relationships.
I don't understand any of this. Like what? Like people like date each other and
Yes.
like they flirt with each other and like all this stuff. And I'm like, what is going on here? I just
And you
thought
do
this
hear
was
about
gym.
it, like gym politics, but you don't understand what it means until you get into it. And you're like, oh, gym politics means relationships and all the complexities that can happen within relationships. And then you're in this place together.
It is very much like an adult playground, though. I have to say, like, that's one of the things that draws you to jujitsu is like you get to play. And it like adults need to play. It's so fun. Like, it's so fun to roll around and like do different weird stuff with our bodies and like learn things, right?
So healing. I have clients that ask me all the time, like, why that? Like, of all the things, and you know me, I like to do weightlifting. All of it has its benefit, but nothing makes me as present as jujitsu does, because you can't think of anything else when you're fighting
So
somebody.
true.
And even when I trained on, what was it, either Friday or Wednesday, I went in, my head was filled with stuff that I was thinking of and going through. I was there for maybe 10 minutes, didn't think about that thing for the next hour, because all I was doing was drilling and having rounds with people.
Yeah.
And then after I left, I was like, oh yeah, that thing I was worried about. It all came back to me. And that's
it's
such
a temporary lobotomy.
that's such a gift in jiu-jitsu.
It is. You know what I've noticed about you? Fridays, your mind goes nuts.
What do you mean?
On Fridays, you seem to have the most like creative ideas and conversations.
Really?
I get the most ideas and thoughts from you, I feel like, on Fridays.
That's probably just because I reserve Fridays a lot of the time. Yeah.
You're allowing the time to happen.
It's
Okay,
usually the day I
interesting.
have like least sessions, and then I will
Yeah.
like plan to allow myself, say if I have sessions in the morning, I might allow myself in the afternoon to have, like, I call it free work, which is, it's usually something
Or
creative.
like free twerk.
Free twerk it.
Yeah, anyway, I think we should wrap this up because we've been talking about this for a while.
Oh wow, we have.
But yeah, this was two therapists versus J-Rod.
Armbar either side.
Can you make a clip, Tom, that is two therapists, like therapist v J-Rod? Because I think that would be really funny. No, this was just I would really be interested to hear other people's thoughts. I would
you read
love
my
to
mind.
hear some like thoughts. Comment on YouTube or on our Instagram.
Yeah,
or on TikTok. We're on
please.
TikTok too. We don't have as many followers on there. We only have like 37 followers.
I've never logged into our TikTok before.
I do the TikTok. Nobody else does the TikTok. That's probably why it has no followers. Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like if you've experienced similar things like this in your gym. What's your hot take on the whole situation over at B Team? But please be respectful of women. Please be respectful of women that you roll with. That we're not your little sex objects. We're there to learn a hobby.
Yeah.
Exercise, right?
And if you find yourself doing something that you feel like is crossing a line or maybe inappropriate, or if you're doing something that you feel like you have to hide it from people and be secretive about it, talk to somebody about it. Be curious about that thing, because there's something going on there.
Yeah. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and there's a crisis hotline. If you text 988 or if you dial 988, it's 24/7, 7 days a week. It's non-judgmental. It's one of those things. It is a resource that anybody can use, even if you're not in crisis or what you would think is crisis and you feel icky about something and you don't know who to go to. you can do that.
Yeah. Anonymous place, you get to just talk about things.
Yep. So, yeah, if you feel icky or you feel like you're crossing a line and you don't know what to do, talk to somebody about it. But, like, don't be icky and don't be gross. And don't disrespect women and don't do deep fakes.
Yeah. Be nice. Be kind.
Yeah. Or
And don't be too creepy. Or just go find you.
I don't know why I'm just... Why are we whispering?
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.